Welcome to the Inspired by Adventure podcast, bringing you the adventure across the airwaves.
All right, welcome guys to another episode of the Inspired by Adventure podcast, your podcast here at Aggressor Adventures. And today we have another episode of our Cup of Joe with CEO, where we talk about all things in the world of Aggressor, what's going on, what's new. And it's a very exciting call for the employees and the customers to hear a little bit from the CEO. So how are you doing today?
Doing great. Great. Thanks, Cole.
We have to admit, we're not actually in the morning time. We're a little after lunch, so we do not have our Cup of Joe today. But we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about. We're still celebrating our 40th anniversary. And tell us a little bit how all that's been going so far.
You know, it's amazing for any company to hit that 40-year mark. I mean, it's to be able to be successful through everything that the world throws at you, including all the changes that you have to keep up with to keep your customers happy. We're very excited to hit 40 years, and it looks like, you know, we'll be able to hit another 40 years the way things have been going. I mean, it's just been great. We've added a 40-year club. A 40 charter club called an Ambassador Club. Mm-hmm. So if you have had 40 charters with us, which we've got quite a few customers that have, then you're now an Aggressor Ambassador, and you get extra perks for that.
Okay.
We also added some 40% off charters for any club member. So if you're an active club member in any of the clubs we have, you can have 40% off coming up for a charter in the next 2 years.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of replies on that e-blast we sent out just the other day. A lot of people are excited about that. It's a great perk. So if you're not a club member, that's a little perk to get you going to hop into one of the many clubs that we have here at Aggressor Adventures. Going back real quick on the 40th anniversary, we also had a big special just a few weeks ago. Had a lot of people sign up for that, and that was probably the biggest discount we've offered.
Yeah, we struggle every year what to do for customers when we come up on our anniversary, and we've been following along with offering the discount based on how many years it's been. Mm-hmm. Not sure how long we can continue that.
I know,
but happy to offer it this year again.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to run out soon. One of these days, we're going to have to cap it off. Let's talk about some of the new destinations, or let's actually new vessels, I should say. The Nile Queen, which is part of the Aggressor River Cruises, the Nile Queen II, I should say, has now launched.
Yeah, so the Nile Queen II under the Aggressor River Cruise brand has become very, very popular, very successful. So we upgraded from a 16-passenger vessel to a 20-passenger vessel. So same great staff, same great service, same antiquity stops, but now it's 20 guests on there. So a few more of your friends can come, and it parallels with the 20 guests you can take to the Red Sea. So a lot of customers do back to back. So they can go diving in the Red Sea and then come on the Nile Queen to the river cruise. And with 16 passengers, it was limiting to a few of the customers not being able to do both together.
That's right. I noticed that actually. I remember hearing somebody that was booking a group special and they were not able to get the last 4 people, so we had to make accommodations. But that's great that we have a new vessel. It's beautiful. I've got to do that trip, and it really is very special. Funny story, when you guys asked me to go to the Red Sea to fill in for one of the coworkers who had left here, I was jumping over the moon because I've been wanting to dive the Red Sea forever. And they slowed me down. They said, "Oh, you're doing the Nile Queen, not diving the Red Sea." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." I was really excited to still do it, but I thought I was diving. And I got there, and when I still think about my favorite trips I've been on, that is up there. It's top 2 probably for me. It's hard to point out which one.
All of Egypt it's such an amazing destination.
Yeah.
But to be able to do the Nile Queen and go down the river, seeing all the antiquities, including not only just the Valley of the Kings, but the quarry where they mine the stones for the Great Pyramids, and on down to Aswan and Abu Simbel. I mean, it's just an incredible trip through time.
It takes your breath away because I'm not a history guy. I'm not a history buff, so that's why I was a little hesitant about being excited about that, but it really is just fascinating.
Well, it also immerses you into the culture there too. So when you stop at these little small towns that the big cruise ships can't stop at, you're interacting with the locals. We're using locals for transportation out to these antiquity sites, being able to walk through the town. So you get a lot more cultural immersion on the river cruise than just antiquities.
That's true. Yeah, it was amazing. I'd go back in a heartbeat. We've also got some news moving on the Philippines Aggressor 2.
That's correct. So Philippines has been a bucket list to add a destination to for us for years.
Right.
But it's a struggle sometimes to find the right partner and vessel to operate under our SOP and uphold all of our standards. Found that several years ago. They built a brand new boat for the Philippines Aggressor 1. It's been operating after the Philippines opened back up after COVID. It's been doing great. And I was actually there earlier this year, and we had multiple dives with thresher sharks in the Visayas. So it was just incredible because I'd never seen one before. And so they are put the finishing touches on the Philippines Aggressor 2. So we'll have 2 vessels there running the same itinerary, similar to what we do in Belize and Palau, some of the others where we have 2 vessels, and being able to offer twice as many customers what the Philippines has to offer.
And do we have a soft start date we want to announce?
It'll be the start of the Tuba Taha season next year, early spring.
All right. That's exciting. Another exciting thing we've had going on lately is we've had a lot of features on TV shows here recently. Let's talk on that.
Yeah, every year we have TV shows that contact us that want to film on board or at a destination that we have. And so this year we've ended up with a couple. So we had Les Stroud, Survivor Man. He has a show called Wild Harvest, where he takes a chef out into the wild and they gather and local flora and fauna and create these gourmet meals.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. So he did Belize last year. He did shot a couple shows down there. Turned out great. And so this year he wanted to do Sri Lanka. He's been there at the Sri Lanka Safari Lodge under our Safari brand, and just thought it was fascinating. So he always thought it would be a great place to do a couple of shows for his Wild Harvest with his chef. So they're there next month in October.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot 2 shows while they're there in Sri Lanka, gathering local flora and fauna to create some great gourmet dishes in the tradition of Sri Lanka.
It's such an interesting concept for a show, and I was a little hesitant when we sent them to Belize to see how that worked out. And then when we saw the dishes they made, I was like, man, I kind of wish I was on the trip this week, so I want to try that. All right. Also, Surviving Man, the All-Stars section coming up.
Yep. So there's a series out there from a retired Navy SEAL called Don Mann, and he's got a show called Surviving Man. MANN, which is his last name. So it's a play on his name. And he puts these participants through some pretty rigorous training to come out with the winner at the end. And so he took the first 2 seasons and took the All-Stars from those 2 seasons.
Cool.
And put together a show on the Belize Aggressor 3. So they had some very cool tasks they had to do while they're there. And everybody from Don to all the participants and the camera crew just had a great time down there. So I'm looking forward to seeing that show when it airs.
I am too. We featured Don in our last podcast. If you guys didn't get a chance to see that, go check it out. He's a very fascinating guy. He's got a long list of achievements and interesting things about the guy. And he told me a little bit about those episodes, and they're definitely sounding pretty interesting. Yeah,
what Cole's direct comment to me after the podcast was he's a badass.
Yeah, he's a badass. Didn't know we could say cuss words on these Cup of Joes. All right, yeah, so moving on. Let's go back to the 40th anniversary and some of the new payment policies and fuel surcharge information and changes that we've made there.
Yeah, so we're always looking at every year we review all of our costs, what our rates are, what our surcharges are, port fees, park fees. We have to, make sure we keep up with all the local regulations. And so one of the things we've heard from customers was the requirement to put 40% down to book an individual, and it could be a year or 2 out. So we decided that when this year come around, we would take another look at that and see what we could do. And so we have cut that down in half. So we cut down to 20%. So now an individual only needs to put down 20%. So if they have a charter next year or 2 years out, they're not having, almost half of their money sitting there.
That's a big difference. And it works for groups as well, not just individuals, right?
Groups are a little different in the way they have a payment policy. So this is for individuals, but it could be through your reseller.
Okay. Got it. And the fuel surcharge elimination.
Yeah, so we kept hearing from customers that at some point that needs to go away, and we understand. I mean, they get on board, and they don't want to feel like at the end of the week they have been nickel and dime for charges, and
Sure.
it's a real expense that we had to pay out. I mean, fuel went crazy there; it still is. But we heard from enough customers that said, look, at some point that's has to go away. So we said, okay, fine, we'll eliminate it. And most cases we had to raise the future rate. So if you're already booked on the charter, the rate doesn't change.
Okay.
But if somebody new wants to book on the charter, then we have to factor in the expenses, and that's part of it. And unfortunately, I don't see it coming back down. I think it's going to be the fuel price is going to be where they're at for probably the foreseeable future.
Inflation is crazy right now, just all around the world. Yeah, so everything's going up. We see. Let's talk about the dry docks. Turks and Caicos and BVI Aggressor both. One just finished dry dock, and one's got a dry dock coming up.
Yeah. So our vessels, the way they're flagged, are required to come out of the water for a dry dock twice in 5 years. We bring them out every other year, so we actually exceed that standard. So we bring them out of the water, we clean the bottoms, we do paint, we get them inspected by the flag state, clean the props, and then try to refurbish any soft goods that need them: new mattresses, linens, carpeting, you name it. We paint the interior, the exterior. So Turks and Caicos just came out of theirs. They had a pretty extensive dry dock that looks great afterwards. And the BVI Aggressor, the British Virgin Islands Aggressor, is going in a few weeks, and it'll be same thing. We'll pull it out of the water, clean the bottom, paint it, and get the flag inspection done, and then do the list of enhancements inside that we have, and hopefully get it all done.
It's a big chore for the operations team to get all that stuff ready, but they do a great job of figuring out what all we need to have done, and they go down on these dry docks.
Yeah, we have to, a lot of times, based on our list of what we want to do, we have to ship goods down there, because you just can't run to Home Depot down the street and buy this stuff.
Right.
So it starts, months and months before of us gathering all the materials that we can't get locally, and getting it down there, getting it cleared through customs, which sometimes takes weeks.
Yeah.
And getting it ready for the dry dock.
Yeah. Now, speaking on the BVI, we recently had a company come out to do 3D renderings and 360 tour, and that's been a huge hit on our website since we announced it last week.
Yeah, we got approached by a company that we've worked with before, who's been in the dive industry quite a while, and did some work for us a few years ago in Cayman, and they had perfected a 3D rendering of dive sites and 360 tours of vessels. So we had them do all of our wreck diving sites in the BVI with 3D renderings. It's on our website. It's very cool. You get to go through the entire and around the entire wreck, so you can kind of see what it looks like at any angle. Yeah. And then if you want to learn more about the BVI Aggressor, if you haven't been on board, you can go in and take the 360 tour, which gives you an actual tour of every space on board the vessel. Yeah,
and that is one of our largest yachts there in the Caribbean, so it's definitely nice to get an idea of what this liveaboard looks like and just how much room there is. But the 3D sites are really cool. My 7-year-old son was getting excited seeing the pirates on the Willie T, so he got to feel like he was down there diving it too. So all right, well, that's very cool. The last thing we're going to leave you with, we wanted to talk a little bit about if we can get any information on any new destinations.
Yeah, so all of our brands, we have destinations in the pipeline. We have a couple of very cool, very, very cool destinations from the liveaboard side that we should be able to announce either late this year or first of next year. Hoping late this year. We have a couple of staff going to do the final test diving and tours down there, so that's coming up. River Cruise has a vessel that we've been plugging away on, trying to get started after COVID. We think we're getting close on having all the permits for that one done. And Safari Lodge is going to have a very, very cool destination over on the Asian side of the world that we should have the final drawings and renderings for any day now.
Mm-hmm. So that just tells you guys got to hop on the next Cup of Joe episode to see exactly. Just getting little teasers there on that. Well, that's pretty much all my notes. Is there anything else you want to?
No, appreciate everybody listening, and have a great week.
Yeah, fall's coming up. We still got a lot of deals on our specials page. Go check those out, and hopefully, we guys will have you guys diving or river cruising or safari here soon. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks for tuning into the Inspired by Adventure podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't already, please subscribe through iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. See you next time.